over here. Got,
Thank you so much.
that's babies.
Oh, good. We had the flu 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
It was horrible. It was horrible.
And they left you with a cough. And the cough doesn't leave, but you know, it's really close to.
No, is it? Yeah.
Some hot water, put sugar, honey,
Yeah. Just something to like sweeten it. I've been taking a spoon of honey like in the mornings, and then I usually take it at like. Oh, sorry.
I'm allowed to wave to him, right? I'm allowed to wave to the attorney. You never know. I think my chair is not. I think one of them is stuck. And it's, is that one? They'll probably fall out of it. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Thank you. I have to read this. I'm very testy lately. Terrible.
We see you though. We see you.
Yeah, no, we see you. Okay. We see you in the streets.
We see you on that.
Is he? Got nothing better to do with your life. Ready? Yep.
Just let me know.
So all set? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I call this meeting of the Township Union Planning Board to order for January 22nd, 2026. Sunshine notice, please.
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Law, notice of this meeting stating the time and place was satisfied by the filing of an annual notice with the local source and the Star Ledger, newspapers of general circulation within the Township of Union, and posted on the bulletin board of the Township of Union Municipal Building.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Alexander?
Here.
Mr. Cohan? Ms. Espinoza?
Here.
Mr. Frame?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Ms. Perkins?
Here.
Mayor Frazier?
Here.
Committeewoman Terrell?
Here.
Ms. Khan?
Here.
Ms. Kalid? Okay, and Chairman Lay.
Here. Can we swear in the engineer?
You swear that all testimony that you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
First item up is the approval of the minutes from December 15th. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Miller. Is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Ms. Khan. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Ms. Espinoza?
Yes.
Mr. Frame?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mayor Frazier?
Same.
Committeewoman Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Chairman Lay.
Yes. We don't have any resolutions for tonight in new business. We have application 2025-19 ADM Investment Corporation. Is representation here? There was correspondence with the applicant to carry over the application to the February 26th meeting. So with that, can I get a motion to carry over application 2025-19 to the February 26th meeting?
Yes, I move that.
Moved by Mrs. Perkins. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Frayne. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Ms. Espinoza?
Yes.
Mr. Frame?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mayor Frazier?
Yes.
Committeewoman Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Chairman Lay.
Yes. Our second item is application 2026-01, 650 Liberty Avenue. Can the representative please approach?
Good evening, Chairman, board members. For the record, Joe Papero from Porzio, Bromberg, and Newman on behalf of the applicant Interglobo NA Real Estate LLC. This application involves the property located at 650 Liberty Avenue, the former Bed Bath & Beyond headquarters. That's block 3504, lot 2 on the Township of Union's tax map. We are here this evening for preliminary and final major site plan and variance approvals to repurpose the former Bed Bath & Beyond headquarters office building into a warehouse distribution facility and corporate headquarters for Interglobo. The zone, as you're all aware, this is in a redevelopment zone, the Liberty Avenue redevelopment zone, and the redevelopment plan that the township adopted governs this project and this site. Interglobo has been designated as the redeveloper of this site pursuant to a redevelopment agreement that we've executed with the Township of Union. And this is really the next step in the process to transition the company from its current location to the Township of Union. For witnesses this evening, I'd like to begin with a representative of Interglobo to talk about the company, both globally, and what they plan on doing here in the Township of Union. After I call the representative of the company, we will have our architect come forward to talk about the renovations and the conversion of this existing building for the purposes that the company would like to operate here. And after our architect, we would call our civil engineer, talk to you about the site plan. And we have our traffic consultant here. And then finally, we'd conclude the presentation with our professional planner. There are some variances / deviations, we call them, because they're from a redevelopment plan that we are seeking relief from. Our planner will speak to those in greater detail. We've provided your attorney with proof of publication in anticipation of this hearing tonight. Council, we have jurisdiction. The board has jurisdiction to hear the application?
That's correct.
Thank you very much. Chairman, board members, if there's anything preliminarily that I can entertain, I'm happy to do that. Otherwise, I'd like to call our first witness. Before I do want to acknowledge receiving the reports from the Township of Union, which included the engineering report. There was a letter from the fire department and a letter from the health department. Those are the three that we received, and we are prepared this evening to respond to those requests and recommendations. My first witness is Fabio Pranzato.
And just as a universal comment, just to speak into the mic so that it can be captured for the record.
Raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I swear.
Mr. Pranzato, can you please explain to the board and the public, Interglobo, what the company, what the business model is, your current location, and just a general overview of operations?
Yes, Interglobo, it's an international freight forwarder logistic company. It's a family-owned company, and we've been in business for over 40 years. And the company as it is now has been developed by our current president, Fabrizio Parodi. He started to build business in the States in the 90s. And over the last 40 years, we became one of the leaders in this market, one of the leader in containers, in moving containers and distribution. And currently, we are located in Jersey City, where we have our current headquarters and our warehouse. And we developed the business so much that we overgrow and we need to relocate. And during our search, we've been presented this location that for us it's perfect. It's a perfect location in terms of dimension. So in terms of location, close to the port, close to the city, but away from the industrial area that is really close to the port. So this location, it's a little bit outside the industrial area, so a little bit secluded in a nice area, perfect to develop a headquarters. And it has some technical aspect that we like, besides the dimension, the yard space that is pretty big, and close to the port. We need to stay close to the port. So through 22, we are very close to the port of Newark. We are close to the airport, and close to 95. That is a way for us to deliver. Is the main highway where my trucks are going to.
Mr. Pranzato, I wanted just to stop there. Could you talk about the types of products that are typically handled in your
Yes.
facility?
Yeah, in the warehouse, the majority it's food stuff. I can give you some names that probably you've seen in grocery stores, like Mutti, that is a tomato sauce that you can find in many grocery stores. Italy has a store in Short Hills, in the Short Hills Mall. Not only that, but also in the city. Venki, chocolate, they have different stores, and they are also in Short Hills, and many others. So olive oil, we do mineral water, we do all the dry food, especially Italia, as an Italian company, but many brands that you can see in grocery store, restaurant, all over the places. Besides the food division, we also have a general cargo division. So we handle printing paper for a very famous, a big Italian manufacturer, one of the biggest in the world, called Burgo. We do steel parts for ThyssenKrupp, it's another multinational. And we do furnitures, distribute furniture for Italian companies, high-end furniture. These, I would say, are the main product that we are currently handling.
And you mentioned food products as well as what I'll call dry goods. So this warehouse facility would have both cold and dry storage?
Yes.
Okay.
Dry is our current business, but we are planning to build a cold storage because this gives us the possibility to approach new clients. When you are in food, if you want to approach all the possible clients, you need to have several services: dry, cold, temperature control, and fresh.
Now, can you explain what you anticipate for your hours of operation at this location?
Yeah, the office worker is classic 8:30 to 5. Then we have the warehouse personnel that starts around 7 a.m., so I would say around 7 to 4 p.m. And then we have our company drivers that are starting, the ports are opening at 6 a.m., so they usually leave the yard around 5:30 to be into the port when it opens.
And the number of employees that you expect for?
Right now we have 50 office worker, 20 warehouse worker, and 20 company drivers.
So at any time, maybe a total of 90 employees?
Yeah, yes.
And the civil engineer and the planner, we'll get into this in more detail, but one of the deviations or variances that we're seeking this evening is relief from the parking requirements. The parking that we're proposing is less than what the ordinance requires. You're aware of that, correct?
Yep.
And is it because of your limited employees that you feel that the parking that is being proposed will be more than adequate for your use?
Yeah, yes.
Chairman, board members, I have nothing further on direct for Mr. Pranzato at this time.
Okay. Questions from the board?
Sir, you stated that your truckers would leave the yard around 5:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
correct? What time would they return in the evening?
But the port closes at 4 p.m., so usually, depending on how the port is busy, they're usually back around between 3 and 5, 3 and 5, I would say. Then there are some days that could be a little bit later, but the majority are coming back between 3 and 5.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any further questions from the board?
Are these numbers that you have in the Thank you. Are the numbers that you have in the report for the office workers' hours, the numbers we anticipate will stay then from, it's a little different from what you spoke. You said 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Would the office hours be 8:30 to 5?
No, I said that we have, let's say, three time.
I see.
Office worker, they start 8:30 to 5,
Yes.
and we have around 50 people.
Mhm.
Then we have the warehouse worker that are starting around 7 to 3, 7 to 4. And we have around 20, I would say, 20 warehouse worker. And then we have 20 company drivers. And they said that they're going to start before the port. They're going to leave between 5 and 6 just to be in the port at the opening of the port.
Would you be able to clarify if the port opens around 5, do you mean that they're leaving?
6.
Oh, 6. Do you mean that they're leaving from the site at 5 to get to the port by 6?
5:30.
5:30.
Because some ports are working with appointments, and some ports are first come, first serve.
Okay.
So they have to be there. I mean, we have to be there when it opens, so they can leave 5:30, depending on the driver.
And these are mainly for those 20, the 20 employees that are drivers.
The 20 company drivers, yes.
20 company drivers, okay.
What time do they return? Are the trucks, could they come back at any time? Is it overnight? Is it?
No. The driver that go to the port closes at 4 p.m. So, as I mentioned before, they are back. Some drivers are coming back around 3:30, and some drivers are coming back by 5. So, because just the port is closing at that time, so we can come back later.
And is it all drivers on a daily basis? Do all the trucks go out on a daily basis, or is it a limited number that go based on what you're?
No, because between vacation, sick day, personal days, trucks that may have some problem, I would say that every day on the road I have 15, 16 trucks in rotation. I would love to have everybody, but it's not happening.
Also, on one of the, oh, sorry. Any other? In one of the reports, I think it's the traffic study report, there was mentions about tractor trailers, other trucks, but however not employed by the applicant, by you. Tractor trailers that would make 53 feet trailers, 20 round trips a day, 40 round trips a day for 40 feet tractor trailers. When do you anticipate that those trucks would be arriving for product deliveries to the site?
They during the day, so they're not coming at the same time. They can start to be around. We start the operation. We start to receive trucks around 8:30.
Around 8:30.
But they don't come at the same time, so they come spread out during the working hours.
And would you say from your typical operations that they're spread pretty evenly throughout your hours of operation, and it's not skewed heavily towards the peak hour?
No, we work with appointments. So
By appointments.
yes, so the warehouse works with appointment, just so that we also operationally, it's easier to work by appointment because you spread out the trackers, the outside tracker, to the site. So yes, I would say evenly.
Any further questions from the board? Counsel?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pranzato.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Our next witness is our project architect, Ivano Maralunda.
Please
Good
raise your
evening.
right hand. You swear the testimony you'll give today to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Ivano, can you provide the board with your education, area of expertise, and the licenses you hold?
Sure.
Can you please spell your name for the record?
Sure. My name is Ivano Marulanda. It's Ivano, and last name is Marulanda. I have a degree from Universidad del Valle in Colombia. I'm licensed in the state of New Jersey. My license is current. I'm also NCARB certified. I have been in front of a zoning or planning board for the towns of Piscataway, Springfield, Elizabeth, Neptune, Raritan, Hillside, Fanwood, Roselle, Newark, Montclair, Toms Rivers, Linden, and Rockaway.
And your licenses in New Jersey are in good
My
standing?
New Jersey license is current, yes.
The board stipulates.
Thank you, Chairman. Ivano, I know we have the architectural plans that were submitted. Anything that was not submitted to the board, if it's been altered for presentation purposes, we need to mark it. So let's just go through those. I
Right.
believe-
This is a rendering that we're starting with. It's a new presentation. It's an exhibit.
So let's mark this Exhibit A1. This is a presentation board, colored rendering of the building elevation, correct?
Correct. On this rendering, we're seeing the building from a west view. You can see the Liberty Avenue will be to the right, and Ridge Drive will be at the back. Like we said, this project is the repurpose of an existing building. We're doing some changes to two parts of the building. So here you see this large area right here is the existing building, same footprint, same height. And one of the changes that we're doing is towards the back. We have this volume that actually currently has a height that is less than the larger volume. We're raising the roof a bit. Then we have towards the right, this area right here, as it was said, they're not only bringing the warehousing, they're also bringing the corporate office. So they're rebuilding this area right here using the same footprint that it currently has, and they are also going a little bit higher than the existing height that the building contains. You also see the solar panels. Those are existing solar panels on the main building. And also on the area that we are raising up on this end, we're maintaining those existing solar panels. Then you can see here towards the right an enclosure. We're going to make sure that any equipment that we're putting on the site is shielded from view. So that's the reasoning for those walls that we have on that area. The total footprint, existing footprint, is 296,757 square feet. Of that, 268,359 square feet will be used for warehousing, and 56,700 space. Another detail that we can see here is for the corporate office, you will see it to the right here where I'm pointing my mouse. That structure has 3 floors. On the 3rd floor, there is a nice terrace so that the people that are working on the building will be able to have some leisure space while they're in the building. So it's a very nice element that is brought to the project. Next sheet is G001.
So why don't we, this is, I believe there's some modifications on this set. Why don't we mark this?
There are some, yeah. So this with G001, there are minor modifications, but they're mostly internal. Nothing in the exterior that changes anything that we had submitted before.
We'll mark this exhibit as A2.
A2. All right. Here, just pointing out. Sorry. Oops. This is. An axometry from the building. This is viewed from the south side. This area right here is that building that's being rebuilt, completely built within the same footprint for the corporate office. In the bottom, we're going to have some refrigeration, and on the top is the offices. I'll show you the floor plans later on. And then you can see in the back, that's the only other small portion of the building that we're raising the roof higher than the existing. That one was a site plan, it's not important. This sheet, A101, so we're going to also mark it as...
We'll mark this as Exhibit A3.
Okay. This is the first floor, again, existing footprint. And here you see the vast area that will be used for the warehousing purpose. And then right now on towards the bottom of the page, they currently have overhead doors, as well as on the right side. And what we did is we developed that to be a proper loading dock. So that's where we're adding those elements on the bottom and on towards the right. The way it was designed and putting the loading docks around the building is for efficiency. So as you heard, they have many different type of products. So they're going to be divided throughout all this area so that when a truck comes in, depending on what he's delivering or storing or bringing back, he will know what dock to use. So it's more efficient. So this way, the trucks do not stay on site as long. So that's why you see a lot of the loading docks around the building. Inside there, again, restrooms. There's like a kitchenette there for the workers. And then here on the top, this is the area that's being reconstructed. And on the bottom, we're going to have a cooler and a freezer with a loading dock for that area also. And between them is the main entrance of the building, as well as stairs, because this is the only part of the building that is multi-story. Next sheet is A106.
So it'll be exhibit A4.
Okay. And here is a blow-up of that area of the building that we are rebuilding. It's right here. So we have the cooler, we have the freezer, we have the main entrance with the lobby, we have the loading docks. Again, this walls that are just shielding equipment that is outside. And on the right, we're showing a section so we can show you the height of the building. So the height of the building is 49 feet 5 inches, which is 4 foot 5 inches higher than the redevelopment plan. Again, it's only on this building and on the small portion in the back that is at that height.
So Ivano, the remainder of the existing office building is at the current height, which is below the 45-foot allowance, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, all of this area is below that 45.
It's only those two areas where the ceiling is being raised, correct?
Right, only this all the way in the back, and this, which will have the corporate office, and it actually on the third floor is very open, so it feels less because of the open terraces that they have. Next sheet is A107.
That'll be exhibit A5.
Here we're showing the second floor, which is where the corporate office will be. Just a typical layout of office. You have the open space in the middle, offices around with some conference rooms, stairs to go up and down, elevator. And then on the right, we have the third floor with some additional rooms, and then the large open terrace that we have for the workers. So that's the building. Then is A201.
And we'll mark this exhibit A6.
Right. So in the bottom, we have the main, let's take this off. That's the main east elevation on the bottom. The building has existing brick, which is in good shape. We're maintaining that brick. They also have windows that we're keeping. Anything that we're enclosing, we're matching it with a brick that matches the existing brick. So we're maintaining that brick look. We're maintaining most of the windows that are right there at the moment. And then we have some concrete panels that will be, that will be the material where we will be creating those new loading docks so you can have a proper loading dock for the kind of trucking that will be servicing this building. On the middle one, which actually this is a long elevation, it's broken in two to fit on the paper. That building right now in the middle is EFIS. So we're repainting that EFIS to match one color, as you can see there on the elevations. Again, minor changes to it, openings for doors, for the loading docks. On the top is towards the back. This is the area of the building that is lower, and we're raising it. So here on the top, what we're doing is we're putting EFIS, and we're matching the color of the brick for that area. Now we have A202.
Exhibit A7.
Again, we have elevations. This is the interior elevation on the, I guess it's the south side. We're keeping a lot of the windows, especially above, This is the area where we're lifting the roof. Again, we're using EFIS to match the colors of the brick. This is a section going through the new corporate office with the cooler and freezer in the bottom. And then we have here, this is the elevation that is, especially this part faces Liberty Avenue. Liberty Avenue goes around, so you don't really see the whole thing. You see basically this piece from the street. And this is where we're coming with a change from what was submitted. We used to have our logo and the name of the company on the corporate part of the building, but we feel that this location is a much better for, from the street, you can see here much better. So we're removing it from that building, from that part of the building, and we're putting it on this side.
And let me just clarify what you're suggesting. So the application and the plans that were submitted to the township in anticipation of the meeting, well, I should say at the original filing, showed signage, wall signage, more as a place marker in a different location, correct?
That's correct.
And the applicant is proposing to amend its request to eliminate those place markers, placeholders, now that we have, with our architect's help, an identified location for the sign and the text for the sign, which is the company's name. And that is what's shown on Exhibit A7 in that center, the top panel. Ivana, can you confirm that the proposed sign conforms with the township's sign ordinances?
That's correct. The
Size, height, everything?
Correct.
I don't know if you can, well, hopefully if the board can see it, if not, maybe you can enlarge it. Oh, there you go. And again, just to be clear, anything that's on the drawings that shows just a mark out of where signage would go, we're eliminating. So there'll only be one sign still.
Yes, only one sign as stipulated on the redevelopment plan. The next page is A203.
I'll mark that A8.
So we have a little blow up of that axonometry of the corporate office. Again, the bottom will be the freezers, and then the office is at the top. So this area was used a little, was designed a little different, a little more glass, as we're going to have a lot of offices there. So we have a glass on the second floor. And for the terrace, the guardrail will be also glass. And then the main entrance here is also, we use glass throughout all 3 stories, because that will be the main entrance now for the building. These are the other sides. This is the side to the left if you're facing the building, and the one that is gray to the bottom is the back. And again, you'll see the windows that we're using for the second floor offices, and the guardrail that will be a glass guardrail for that terrace that we have on the 3rd floor. So just to kind of summarize what I've said, we're repurposing this existing building. We're keeping the existing footprint. We are changing the height on those 2 small areas above the existing building. Because we're repurposing the building, we're also going to bring it up to code. So when we do construction drawings, it'll be as per code, new code. So it'll be a safer, more efficient building now. We got the review from the fire department, and they're talking about sprinklers and fire alarms. And yes, the building will have all the fire safety as per current code. As this project, if it's approved, then the next step will be to provide construction drawings to the department, to the construction department, which will have all the safety elements.
And I don't believe there were any architectural comments in the Collier's report that you need to respond to. You talked about, actually there is the signage. We've clarified, as a matter of fact, the exhibit now responds directly to 7.1 because there is a clearly defined wall sign with the text, the logo, and the dimensions.
Correct.
Chairman, I have nothing further on direct for Mr.
Thank
Marabunta.
you. Questions from the board?
Will the signage be lit?
No, there's no lighting, no current lighting on the sign.
Will there be any lighting, highlighting the building, anything in front? Or Will lights be visible at any point in time?
I will leave the exterior lighting to the engineer.
Thank you.
I just have a question about, on the right side where you said there was a space for storage, equipment is storage. Can you just give me an idea of what type of storage or equipment?
Right, because of the cooler and freezer, they need some equipment that needs to be located at the outside. So we're just kind of shielding from view that equipment required for those purposes.
Any further questions from the board?
I guess just one question. You going to have backup generation on site?
That's another location that we're looking into for putting the generator onto that shielded area.
Okay, thank you.
Questions from the public? Okay, hearing none.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Yes.
Thank you, Ivano. Appreciate
you.
it. Our next witness is the civil engineer, Andrew Smith.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Please raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you give today to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please spell it out for the record.
Andrew Smith, ANDREW SMITH.
Andrew, for the benefit of the board and public, your education, area of expertise, and the licenses you hold.
Yes, so my name is Andrew Smith. I am a senior project manager with Langen Engineering. I have a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from the University of Delaware. I've been practicing land development engineering for almost 9 years now, and I am licensed as a professional engineer, a PE in the state of New Jersey. My license is current and in good standing.
Board stipulates.
Thank you, Chairman. Andrew, same instruction for you. Any exhibits, we need to mark those before you provide any testimony.
So I believe this is Exhibit A11,
A9.
9?
Yeah.
I can't count. So I'm going to introduce Exhibit A9, which is an existing site aerial of the property. So the site or the property is known as Block 3504, Lot 2, as identified on the Union Township tax map. This is commonly referred to as 650 Liberty Avenue, or as some of you may know it, as the former Bed Bath & Beyond, or a portion of the former Bed Bath & Beyond headquarters site. So the parcel in question is approximately 19.5 acres in size, and to the north and to the west, the site is bound by wooded space and the Rahway River. To the south, the site is bound by Liberty Avenue and then a tributary to Rahway River. And then to the east, the site is bound by Ridge Drive. As previously mentioned, the site is currently home to an existing multi-story office building. There is approximately 1,000 parking spaces on site. I believe the number is 1,012 to be exact. There are also 3 dedicated motorcycle spaces on the site. Noted in blue, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. There we go. And then as outlined in blue on this exhibit, on the western portion of the property, there's an existing stormwater detention basin which currently services the existing site. Let me pan this back up. Access to the site is provided via 2 driveways. There is a driveway on the eastern boundary of the site, which is adjacent to Ridge Avenue. There is a second driveway at the bend in Liberty Ave, which also provides two-way access currently provides two-way access into the site. The site is subject to a redevelopment plan, which is titled the Liberty Avenue Redevelopment Plan. As previously mentioned in prior testimony, the application is fully compliant with the redevelopment plan, with the exception of the building height variance and the quantity of parking stalls provided. I'm now going to transition to Exhibit A10. I'll see if I can make that full screen. All right, now that there we go. Exhibit A10 depicts a colored version of our site plan overlaid on the existing aerial to provide you with context to the proposed improvements and how they relate to the existing site and the surrounding parcels. So currently, we are anticipating the conversion of the existing space into a distribution and a warehouse space and office space with associated loading docks, trailer parking, and car parking. These features fully comply with the setbacks set forth in the redevelopment plan. The footprint of development is generally limited to the footprint of the existing development on site, meaning that we're mainly operating within the confines of what exists today as either curbs, pavement, building, et cetera. We are proposing a monument sign, so we're going to replace the monument sign adjacent to the Eastern Drive, which I have an exhibit later that will detail that sign. We're also proposing to maintain the existing flagpole that is out at Liberty Avenue and add an additional flagpole directly next to that existing flagpole. I'm now going to orient us to the site plan as it relates to the site and parking and circulation and loading. So to start, loading is provided on multiple sides of the building. We are proposing a total of 49 loading docks. The redevelopment plan requires a minimum of 9 loading docks. We exceed the requirement based on the applicant's needs and the operations intended at the building. We are proposing trailer parking to support the operations, more specifically 106 total trailer parking stalls, 23 of which support 55-foot long trailers, and 83 of which support 40-foot, so smaller trailers, 40-foot long trailers. As for standard vehicular parking, we are proposing a total of 150 spaces based on the applicant need. We note that this is a variance from the requirements set forth in the redevelopment plan. The redevelopment plan requires 277 spaces based on our proposed development. And again, we're requesting the variance to install 150 spaces based on the applicant's operations and needs. Parking will be situated south of the building, so we're going to repurpose an existing parking lot that exists today. We're going to restripe it, install a few additional parking stalls south of what we previously noted as the cold storage unit. So this is where we will house our ADA and some additional standard car parking spaces. And then the balance of parking will be situated on the western part of the site. If you can see the mouse, I'm circling the standard car parking lot to bring us to a total of 150 stalls. Of the 150, we are proposing 4 EV make-ready stalls, one of which is also an ADA stall. And to that end, we're proposing 5 total ADA stalls in compliance with ADA requirements. Just going to zoom back out, see if I can get that to go away. So now to speak to site circulation. Maybe. All right, I'm going to stop touching the screen. The project proposes minor traffic striping improvements along Liberty Avenue. There was prior traffic striping in the road, which is somewhat worn and not clearly visible, so we intend to enhance that by restriping the intersections where site access is provided. The eastern entrance, that's the entrance adjacent to Ridge Drive, will be one-way truck traffic, which will then provide one-way circulation on the eastern and northern sides of the building. And the intersection at the corner of Liberty Avenue, or excuse me, the bend in Liberty Avenue, will be enhanced with minor curb return improvements to provide adequate truck and car circulation. That intersection will be two-way, and that'll provide two-way circulation throughout the site, both on the southern and western portions of the building. Specific to trash and recycling, we are proposing trash dumpsters and/or compactors to be located in the loading dock. We have conceptually shown I believe, 2 spaces in the loading dock area, which is compliant with the redevelopment plan. Trash and recycling will be handled by a private hauler. And again, that is shielded by the building from the general public view in the loading dock, which is a requirement of the redevelopment plan. I'm now going to transition and speak a little bit about landscaping, so the proposed landscaping and lighting design. The project proposes the removal of approximately 8 trees. Most of those trees are the few shade trees that were installed under the prior development. And there's 1 or 2 trees along Liberty Avenue which we're intending to remove. And the reason for that removal is we're actually enhancing the landscape along Liberty Avenue to provide somewhat more of a buffer and green space as you approach the site. So with that, we are first and foremost maintaining the wooded buffer between Rahway River and the site. That will all stay untouched and heavily wooded. And then we're also proposing to plant 24 new trees scattered throughout the parking and loading areas, as well as I previously mentioned, enhancing the landscape buffering along the site frontage. All of the proposed plantings are native species, and our plantings that are proposed comply with the New Jersey Do Not Plant list. As far as lighting goes, we are proposing to remove the existing lighting, both throughout the existing parking lot and the building-mounted lights. The existing parking lot's being reconfigured, therefore we're going to provide adequate lighting for the new parking and truck loading and trailer parking configuration, as well as the new building. We are proposing 22 LED pole-mounted lights, which are 25 feet tall, 18 LED lights, which are building-mounted, both of which have a temperature of 3,000 Kelvin. The light fixtures have been designed to comply with the local ordinance, which is representative of the redevelopment plan as well, with no spillover of light onto adjacent properties. And the lighting, both building-mounted and pole-mounted, is dark sky compliant. As this is a redevelopment of an existing site, we intend to reuse existing utilities to the extent feasible. So we are intending to rely on existing services to the building for water, gas, electric. There is existing sewer that services the existing building. One of the discharge lines is a clay line, so we do intend to upgrade that to PVC to make it more in line with standards of modern day development. And lastly, I'll note, as far as utilities go, we did receive the engineering review letter, and we don't take exception to CCTVing or inspecting the existing PVC pipe that services the building to make sure that the sewer service that we intend to remain in place is functioning and adequate for the new development. And lastly, I will touch on stormwater management. The intended development proposes a reduction in impervious coverage of approximately 1.4 acres, an acre of which is vehicular pavement. However, we propose greater than 1 acre of land disturbance as part of this project, and therefore we are classified as a major development as far as stormwater regulations go, meaning we are subject to stormwater quantity and groundwater recharge requirements. The proposed development will generally maintain drainage patterns across the site, and we do intend to maintain the existing detention basin, which is located in blue, as I highlighted earlier, on the western portion of the site. The proposed development and drainage design is compliant with local and state regulations, and therefore stormwater quantity and recharge requirements are met as part of our design. With that, I'm going to transition to Exhibit A11. Maybe?
Yes, A11.
I got the number right, but now I can't get the screen to work. There we go. So again, this is Exhibit A11, and this is a conceptual graphic of what we intend the monument sign to look like. Again, this is what we intend to install at the eastern driveway. The sign, the intended sign is compliant with the township ordinance, meaning we will not exceed 60 square feet in area of the sign. The sign will not exceed 10 feet in height. It is intended that the lettering be backlit with LED lights compliant with the local ordinance. And the location of the sign will be set back 15 feet from the right-of-way, compliant with the local ordinance. And with that, I'm going to conclude my testimony and acknowledge that we have received the engineering review letter from the township professional. We've reviewed that letter, and we do not take exception to comments contained within that letter.
And Andrew, how about the fire department letter? There were some.
Yes, there were additional comments in the fire department letter pertaining to the site features, and we also do not take exception to comments contained within that letter.
Thank you, Andrew. Chairman, I have nothing further on direct.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
Mr. Smith, do you plan on improving the drainage at all?
So we intend to replace the conveyance piping throughout the entire site. So all the catch basins, manholes, and piping will be upgraded in the sense that they are adequately sized for the development, and they will convey flow to the proper discharges.
Does that mean the piping will be increased in size, the diameter of the pipes will be?
So the piping will be sized adequately. Without going pipe by pipe, we are a reduction in impervious coverage, so the sizing is likely the same as what exists today, if not smaller. But therefore, it is sized for the specific development that we intend to construct.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So with regard to the parking spaces, I know you said it was supposed to be 277. You're only going to have 150. Currently, you have 90 employees. Do you anticipate the business growing? And would you potentially need more than 150 parking spaces?
Do you want me to answer that?
Sure. I mean, if you want to.
The parking count, so as prior testimony alluded to, there are 90 intended employees at a time. We are providing, obviously, an excess number of parking spaces for that, which not only provides flexibility to the site for growth, but also ensures that there is adequate parking for truckers, employees, office workers, et cetera.
Right. So in the event that the business doubles and the employees double, I would imagine that would be a good thing, right? Right?
Sure.
As far as the growth of the business, yes. We are obviously providing an amount of parking which exceeds the minimum number of employees that we would expect today. But it does happen to be less than what the redevelopment plan contemplates, because the redevelopment plan was not contemplating a specific end user, as this application does.
Mr. Chairman,
Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
It's related to something else, my question.
Okay,
So-
if I could, just relative to that, I would have a concern if there's a future need to expand, you have wetlands behind that property, taking out that impervious won't get it back, right? So I think that one of the issues here is that you'd have to probably reconfigure within your new footprint as opposed to being able to expand that. So I'm not sure that they have much expansion capability as it involves parking on this site.
That is acknowledged and understood. To your point, yes, we are a reduction in impervious coverage, and based on our limitations within constrained areas, the likelihood for redevelopment beyond where we intend to develop now will pose some challenges from a stormwater perspective, NJDEP perspective, et cetera. So, yeah, point well taken.
And then my last question maybe is with regard to the 8 trees that are being removed. is there potentially an opportunity to replant those trees as opposed to just getting rid of them? I know you're going to add new trees, but with the 8 trees that you're taking out.
Without the species list in front of me, going off of memory, I believe that one, not all of them are fully native, and two, I don't believe they were in the best condition, given that the site's been somewhat vacant for a number of years. So given that and the fact that it's 8 trees, it's not a large quantity, we felt that it was best for the site to remove the 8 and replace it with an increased number of native species.
Any further questions from the board?
This is a question of general interest. It's not a serious inquiry. You said you're going to put up a second flagpole.
Yes.
And will that flag be an American flag, or might it be something that would designate your company?
I believe the intention is the existing flagpole will fly the American flag, and the adjacent new flagpole will fly the Italian flag.
Thank you.
And just one other question. The light poles, you said were going to be 25 feet?
Yes.
And how tall is the building?
The building height varies, but the maximum height is 49 feet, 5 inches.
So I just have, first of all, I think you did a nice job with the site plan. I love the fact that you've taken out pavement and put in a lot of grass and planting. So I think it's a great improvement. The one issue that I have with the signage out front that you're putting in there, although it complies with the sign ordinance, I see no place on either the building or the sign that designates 650. So it may be something that you should take into consideration, because the current sign right there prominently says 650. You're on a bend, and you'd hate to have a big truck miss that site and have to start going around the neighborhood. So I think that I definitely put a big 650 someplace on this site, so it's clearly denoted that what property you're going to.
Understood. We will work with the applicant and the architect to, one, designate the appropriate location, and two, make sure that the addition complies with the local ordinance for size and dimensions.
Any further questions from the board? Questions from the public? Yes, sir.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Eric Owes, 1083 Mayfair Road, and that's O-W-E-S. Union, New Jersey. How are you, Mr. Smith?
Good. How are you?
Very good, thanks.
Good evening.
Just some quick, brief, couple of questions I have. I'll start with the easy one. What is the percentage of the ADA parking that you're going to be providing for the site?
The percentage of parking,
Can we go back to the site plan?
yes.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So we are proposing 150 total parking stalls, 5 of which are ADA.
Okay. And my question was, what is the percentage of that per the 150 that you're providing? So it's 150, and 5 of those are the ADA spaces?
Correct.
Okay. And could you zoom into the area where the ADA spaces are? It's the blue ones, I would imagine.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. A little closer.
Again, sorry.
My eyes are terrible. Thanks. Appreciate it.
It's the
All of us. Okay, so that's under 5%, though. I mean, by my number, by my quick little calculation, it's under 5%. And I don't know if that's code or not. I think you should just look at that. So I'll just leave it out there.
understood.
Okay.
Yes.
And again, I'm not familiar with the requirement for union. I don't know if it's individual to the state of New Jersey, but you might want to look at that, because 5% would represent 7 spaces, and that's 5. So that was just my one comment there. Impervious paving. So you haven't increased impervious paving, am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay, you've decreased.
Correct.
Okay, so that's probably where you have the the reduction of tributary storm flow, I would imagine, into the system.
Yes.
Okay, so your delivery system is enhanced, correct? the catch basins as well as the pipe. I think you mentioned, Mr. Frame asked the question, you mentioned the pipe is going to stay the same size, but the catch basins, have they increased in size?
So catch basins are standard size, and
Okay.
we intend to use a standard.
So the capacity hasn't changed for the actual delivery to the existing storm. And is it detention or what is it?
So a portion of the site will utilize the existing detention basin. Ultimately, the majority of the site discharges to a new head wall, which is located at the southern portion of the site, which is the tributary to Rahway River. So all of those facilities are intended to be upgraded with new piping and structures.
Okay. So now the existing, the triangle, the blue triangle,
Yes,
that existing, that is a detention or retention?
detention.
Detention, okay. So it's detaining water and it's going to discharge eventually where?
It ultimately all discharges to Rahway River.
To the Rahway River, okay. All right, and it's existing, so you're not adding to the detention capacity?
Correct.
Okay. That was that one, and, okay. This might be a little bit, could you take your mouse and take a typical vehicular, truck route from Liberty, on the map, yeah, like from the right? Could you kind of illustrate how the trucks would ingress onto the site, maybe dock, and then egress out of the site?
You're talking about from the east?
I don't
Which
know
is-
one.
which is-
Yes, that's right, from the east. North is up, right? Plan north?
Yes.
Okay, yes, I'm from the east, correct.
So you want to see a movement that comes from down Liberty,
Right. It would-
heading west,
Yeah, you're right, you're heading west, that's correct.
and then you're coming in,
Okay,
and you can either access the site from the eastern driveway here,
okay,
or you can continue and access from the second driveway.
right, that's what I find interesting. That's on a curve and it's a truck, on a curve entering a site. Okay, but let's go with the first one that you just illustrated. Coming in that way, you would go continue, I would guess, around the building, and then you would be coming back out, not in the same area, in the one that's on the curve, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions from the public? Okay, hearing none.
Thank you, Chairman. Our next witness, thank you, Andrew. Our next witness is Daniel Desario, our traffic engineer.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. For the record, name is Dan. Last name is Desario, Disario. You're welcome.
Your education and area expertise?
Certainly, highest degrees Master of Science in Transportation Engineering from NJIT, licensed professional and engineer in the state of New Jersey as well as several other states. I've prepared well over 1,000 traffic studies for almost every conceivable land use. I've been accepted as an expert in traffic engineering before hundreds of boards throughout New Jersey.
Board
Your licenses
stipulates.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
And I would also note for the board, I am an expert in eating Italian food, including the muty tomato sauce that the applicant referenced earlier. I'm a pastane guy rather than muty, but my wife likes muty, so we go with muty.
Dan, you prepared a traffic analysis statement. You reviewed this project from a traffic engineering perspective.
I
correct?
did.
And you're familiar with the site plans, the movements, the loading areas, traffic, parking, circulation?
Yes.
Can you provide the findings from your report and the conclusions you've reached based on the information?
Certainly, and I know the board's very familiar with this site. It used to be the headquarters of Bed Bath & Beyond until they went out of business, unfortunately. They are online now. And I'm sure you've all passed the site when the employees were leaving. They had hundreds of employees at that site. So the bottom line and overarching conclusion is the applicant is proposing is going to reduce traffic in the area, particularly during commute times, because they employ a lot less people than Bed Bath & Beyond once did at this site. You heard from the applicant in terms of truck traffic. I think it's important to understand really what this operation is. It's not a big national distribution operation. It's not a big industrial or manufacturing operation. It's basically importing mostly Italian food products, but you also heard some furniture and some parts as well, from the ports, bringing it to this building, storing it, and then loading those products onto a van of trucks that the applicant maintains to go and make deliveries to end customers. So their fleet of trucks that they own and operate and manage, it's 20 single unit trucks. A single unit truck, you can think of it as if you went to like a Ryder truck and you wanted to rent a truck to go move yourself out of a house or an apartment. In addition to, so those 20 single unit trucks, they're going to make trips back and forth either to the port or to end customers about 4 times a day. So their fleet of 20 single unit trucks will leave the site and come back, and leave the site, come back, leave the site, come back, leave the site, come back on average each day, 4 round trips. You probably wouldn't even notice the single unit trucks because they would be mixing in with single unit trucks that are already on the roads today. Think about Coca-Cola or Pepsi or the bread truck that's making deliveries to supermarkets or convenience stores, those size trucks. The other component that you heard from the applicant are larger trucks, but they're not the over-the-road tractor trailers that you're probably familiar with on Route 78 and the Turnpike, where the driver actually has a sleeper cab attached to the tractor portion of their cab. These trucks are basically going to be moving product from the ports to this site. And they're going to be doing it with what's called a day cab. It's basically an engine where the driver sits in the compartment. There's no sleeper cab. So they're a lot smaller dimensionally than what you might otherwise associate with a warehouse use. They'll be pulling 53-foot trailers or 40-foot containers. Those containers are basically the containers that come off a ship. They're dropped onto a chassis, a tractor, a day cab's hooked up to it, and then they bring it to this site. So it's not, relatively speaking, an intensive trucking operation. And it's certainly less intense than what would otherwise be if this was a speculative warehouse operation. The 53-foot trailers, as the applicant testified to earlier, about 20 a day. The 40-foot containers, about 40 a day. The 53 are 20 a day. I misspoke. So tractor trailers coming to and from the site average about 60 per day. They're only going to be received and they're only going to be active when the warehouse workers are working inside the building. You heard from the applicant, my traffic study says the warehouse workers work from 7 to 3. He also indicated it could be 7 to 4. But basically those are the core hours of the warehouse operation. That's when the tractor trailers will be coming to and from the port. That's when the workers inside will be loading the single unit trucks to go and make deliveries to end customers. So this operation is basically during normal business hours. And Mr. Chairman, you asked a good question because I had the same question. How are those trucks coming from the port? How are they managed? Are they all going to show up at once? And the answer is no. They do it by appointment. So vendors that are bringing product off the ships and coming to this site to deliver either a 53 trailer or a 40-foot container are by appointment. So it is an orderly operation and it's spread throughout the operating hours of the warehouse. So respectfully, I don't believe there's going to be issues as it relates to the trucking activity associated with what the applicant is proposing for your consideration. How do we think trucks are going to come? Because I understand to the north of the site along Liberty, there's residential areas. I looked at Google Earth, and I've been doing work in this area for a long time, and discussed it with the applicant. There's no question in our mind the trucks associated with the port that are coming to the site are going to go down 22. It's a little shorter route than 78. If you were to use 78 in your truck driver, to get from 78 to this site, you're making several turns. You're going through a couple signalized intersections. If you use 22 coming out of the port, it's a straight shot, no signals, and very few turns. And it's much easier for a truck to make a left turn, particularly into this site because of the curve, than it is for trucks to make a right turn into this site. So for those reasons, Route 22 is a more attractive route for truck drivers, and we would anticipate the majority, if not all, of the tractor trailers would come from 22 and use 22 to go back to the port. The single unit truck drivers, they are not going to be limited to just 22. They might be using 78 to get to the turnpike, 22 to get to the turnpike. They may make deliveries further west if there's end customers to the west. So the single unit trucks, they are likely going to use Liberty Avenue in both directions and access 78 or 22 to make their deliveries. But again, they're just single unit trucks, and they would blend in, I believe, rather favorably with other single unit trucks that are already on Liberty Avenue or the surrounding roads. In terms of the parking variance that we seek, yes, the applicant is hopeful that one day the business does grow, but we've built in excess car parking supply in order to accommodate any growth that might occur. I can tell you they've been at their Jersey City facility for many, 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 many years. So if there is growth in the future, we would anticipate it's going to be slow and organic. But just to give the board a benchmark to compare against, if this was just a speculative warehouse based on published parking demand for warehousing, this size warehouse would have an average peak parking demand of about 124 vehicles, whereas the applicant's proposing 150 parking spaces. So with that, I would respectfully submit to you, I think the parking supply is adequate, certainly as it relates to the applicant's proposed operation. But let's say the applicant were to leave one day and you'd have a more typical speculative type warehouse tenant operating out of here. The published data still suggests that the parking supply would be more than enough to accommodate demands associated with a warehouse operation. So respectfully, we are seeking that relief, and I think the board can be comfortable in granting that exception for the reasons I stated.
Dan, you've had an opportunity to review the Collier's report. There was some traffic comments in there. I know you've gone through many of them already. Anything additional that you feel?
The only thing I would point out for the board's information, there was a question about the amount of trailer parking that is proposed as part of this application. And I've also talked to the applicant about this, but this is not unique to this application. And when I was qualifying myself, I didn't point out, I've probably worked on 1 billion square feet of warehousing throughout the country. For the last probably 10, 15 years of my practice, it's been all warehousing. I spend about 90% of my time working on warehousing projects. You're not going to find many new warehouse projects, particularly in our state, that are proposed that don't have trailer parking as part of their proposals. And the reason is there is a container and trailer management issue that exists. Back in the day, when we bought less things as a country, if you had an empty container, you could send it back to the ports, and the ports would store the empties. The ports are so busy now, they do not want the empties stored on port property anymore. So the end customers have to store containers and trailers on their own sites. That's why this applicant is proposing the trailer parking that it's seeking approval for from this board for, because it needs to manage its empties. And by having the trailer parking on the site, it also improves the efficiency of the overall loading and unloading operation. Because if a tractor trailer or a container are emptied, but there's not an opportunity to take them away for whatever reason, it allows this applicant to then bring that container or trailer into the trailer parking area and store it there until the right time that somebody can come and retrieve it.
So, Dan, I got to tell you, through the testimony on the operation, most of my concerns have gone away. I was more concerned that an outside tractor trailer with a sleeper cab was going to come in and be idling all night long there. So I said, but now that these are really, you own these trucks, or the applicant owns these trucks, and they're going to be stored there, and in the morning they're going to be going back to the port, makes more sense. I was just concerned that there'd be a lot more outside tractor trailers, and they'd be coming in all hours of the night. That's what I wanted to make sure, that they weren't having, any outside tractor trailers coming in and doing that idling.
And if the board wants to attach a condition to, if you were to grant approval, that there would be no overnight, drivers parked on the site, I think the applicant would be amenable to that. You run, and full disclosure, I live in South Brunswick, so I'm right next to 8A on the Turnpike. There's probably 30, 40 million square feet of warehousing that I live adjacent to. And I actually live across from a L'Oreal, directly across from a L'Oreal and a Coca-Cola warehouse on 130. You run into those issues with drivers needing to park somewhere when they're up against the limit on how much time they can spend on the road. When you're talking about long-haul drivers that are making runs of several hundred miles a day, that doesn't apply to this operation for the reasons that we've testified to, and that it's largely going to be port-oriented. So it's really going to be day drivers that are driving the tractor trailers or the trailers and the containers back and forth to the port. But if the board wanted to condition no overnight parking by like long-haul drivers, the applicant would be amenable to that.
I have a question. So you said 60 trucks per day. I understand appointment only. But, there's 8 hours in the day, so there's going to be overlap. So can you give me a sense of, in any given hour, the maximum number of trucks that might be trying to get in to unload?
I don't know exactly. It's going to average over the course of the warehouse hours, like one truck every 8 minutes approximately, 60 trucks over the 8 hours of operation of the warehousing. That is another reason why, as part of the applicant's proposal, they are proposing the number of loading docks that they are. The redevelopment plan suggests a minimum of 9 loading docks. I think you heard from the site engineers 49 that are proposed. That's another reason, because if you have trucks that are coming in, let's say you have 10 trucks that come in a relatively short time, having this amount of loading docks allows the applicant to receive those trucks and have a loading dock that's available and free for them to park in.
So the issue for me is not really the loading docks, it's the trucks backing up on either Liberty or wherever, trying to get in, and what the impact of that will be. That's
So
really what I'm trying to get
this
at.
site's advantaged in 2 ways. One is that we can provide the amount of loading docks that we can, and 2, that we have 2 points of access. The easterly access is envisioned to only be trucks, and the one-way circulation on the east side and north side of the building helps process and move those trucks efficiently. And then we have the signalized access too. That also is going to help provide a controlled means for trucks to come in as well as exit. And I think those coupled in terms of that type of site access is going to go to at least minimize, if not completely eliminate, the concern that you've raised.
And will the trucks be, and I ask this question because you use these words, limited to Route 22? Will you require that they, if they're coming from the port, that they use Route 22?
I think the trucks that the applicant controls, the answer is yes. If it's the single unit trucks, I would not want to limit them because 78 might be a better route depending on where an end customer is for the single unit truck to get to. The trucks that the applicant doesn't control, because there will be other vendors moving the trailers from the port to this site, we don't have any control over them. But if you look at it practically, the best route for them to take is Route 22. Now, in terms of trucks exiting the site, there's only the west driveway that a any vehicle exiting the site has to come through the signalized driveway. If the board is concerned about larger trucks making the left out on a Liberty and trying to head up to 78, we can put in signage that prohibits larger trucks from making that left turn out, so that we would force them to go south on Liberty down to 22. If that's something you'd like to see, I think we can incorporate that into the plan. But again, I don't want to limit the single unit trucks because I don't think there's a need to.
No, my concern really is the larger truck.
Okay. So if the board wants as a condition of approval, we can certainly put up signage to prohibit left turns out of the site at the westerly driveway for tractor trailers.
And also, if possible, can they put in a directive for them to use only Route 22 for the bigger trucks?
They have yard managers, they have dock managers, and certainly the applicant can encourage all drivers to use 22.
Also, I have one additional question. I don't know if you're the appropriate person to answer this, but Denave was talking about night trucks parking there overnight and parking there idly. Is there a security gate, and will there be security staff there to not allow people to go in there and just park idly overnight?
So the entire trailer truck yard and truck court are going to be secured. They're going to be fenced all around. So there's not going to be an ability, if there isn't a wayward truck that's not associated with the site that's looking somewhere to park overnight, they won't be able to do it here.
Is it gated?
Yes.
Okay, and is there security staff?
There won't be any security staff.
Thank you.
But they will have a security camera system, so there will be monitoring of the site even when it's not in operation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, I have a question. Will there be need to access the trailers outside of business hours?
Can you-
The containers, the units that will be parked there for storage, will they need to be accessed at any time past your business hours, at night?
Likely not, no. There won't be any need for them because the warehouse won't be open.
Thank you. The question additionally that I have, I do understand that the single-unit trucks will need to move to various areas for their deliveries. They will be limited as well to the business hours?
Yes.
My concern, and as you know the area now well, there's a school there.
Yes.
And people come early to get their children, and then later circulation is school buses and so forth. So it's 80 trips. That's a lot of trucks that you have no, I won't say no control over. We have no control over. It would be, I'd be happy to see that they were out of there before the parents started to pick up their children. But
It's likely that most of the trucking activity associated with this site will be done before pickup time of the school. Because the warehousing is closing around 3 or 4, and you really need to be on the road, so to speak, prior to the end of the warehousing or the warehouse operation closing. So I would anticipate most of the trucking activity associated with this site is going to be done by like 2. That's not to say all of it, but the majority of it will be.
And of course, then there's the entrance to school too, in the morning, so it's a very busy street, as you well know.
But understand, it's not going to be 20 single-unit trucks that are all lined up and loaded, and then they're all released at one time. The single-unit truck operation you heard from the applicants really going to start up around 8:30.
Any further questions from the board? Just had a few questions on my end. A single unit truck compared to the 53 feet and 40 feet tractor trailer, what's the typical size or range of a single unit truck compared to a 53 or 40?
So the most common single unit truck is a 30-foot truck from nose to tail.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a bigger single unit truck that's 40 feet from nose to tail. Any of us could go to like a U-Haul or a Ryder truck rental place and rent a single unit 40-foot truck and drive it with a standard driver's license.
Okay.
So they're not overly big.
Got it.
And the tractor trailers, as you know, it's going to be a tractor that's connected to a trailer that's either pulling the 53-foot trailer or pulling a chassis with a 40-foot container on top of it.
Got it. Looking at the table 2 of your study, and I just want to make sure I get the estimates right. The reason why you have only 50 cars in the morning peak hour and 50 in the morning and 50 for the evening is because I'm assuming that the non-office workers will be arriving and departing on off-peak hours, right?
Yeah, so the warehouse workers have to be in by 7, so they're going to probably be arriving between 6:30 and 7 in the morning.
Okay. And I know that there were a couple of questions with regards to trucks leaving the property. And I know we talked about prohibiting the left turn, but giving more flexibility for the single unit trucks. And I think some of our concerns lies, and we're myopically focused on our residential area on Liberty and going to the Battle Hill area. But I think, isn't there also flexibility through, I think there's a road, Milltown Road, that leads to Meisel Avenue, which is a county road through Springfield that is less signaled, and that could lead you to 78 and other parts of the county. Has that also been explored as a viable route for those single-use drivers making their deliveries if, let's say, they're going on to 78 West or something like that?
We haven't explored that specifically, but certainly that's a route that's available to them. Again, I don't think, respectfully, there needs to be a limitation on the single unit trucks, just because of the nature of what they are. And at least for me, they're not intimidating. When I get next to an 18-wheeler, that's a completely different feel. But the single unit trucks, we cohabitate with single unit trucks all the time, and you probably don't even notice them.
Well, let me phrase my question another way. That single unit trucks leaving the area to make deliveries won't be myopically focused on just traversing through a residential area in the Battle Hill area as the main and only means for them, or most convenient means for them to make their deliveries. That there will be encouragement to look at all possible routes to mitigate any detrimental factors on our residential neighborhoods.
Yes.
Is that fair? Is that a fair question to ask and say that's a commitment to?
We agree.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions from the board? Questions from the public?
State my name again, or we're okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great, thanks. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Okay, I want to revisit not the truck vehicular circulation, but the parking. Could you identify where the 150 spaces are? I think may I grab this really quick? I think it's clear over here that this is parking here. But could you explain this right here? Is this back-to-back parking?
Point again, please.
I'm sorry, not this grouping,
Yep.
but that grouping and a grouping above it.
So everything above the parking you just pointed out is trailer parking.
Right?
Is only
Yeah.
trailer parking, no car parking.
Got it, okay, so the 150 car parking is here and where else?
And in the front between the
okay.
building and Liberty Avenue.
Okay, got it. So that's trailer parking, but it's not connected to the building, but that's like just staging, would it be? Could you explain what that is?
Yes, so what happens is if a tractor trailer with a container or a trailer come into the site, with product loaded. They hook up into one of the loading docks.
Mhm.
It's likely that tractor trailer driver is going to detach and either leave the site or make their way over to the trailer parking area and pick up an empty, connect to that, and leave. So
Got it.
that trailer parking will have empty containers or trailers that will be picked up at some point.
Got it. Okay, I understand that. Let me see. These are the size trucks you're speaking of? Is it that?
Yeah,
That's the one?
that's
Okay.
a good picture of it. Yep.
Yeah, you know, I'm visioning, large
Big-
tractor trailer with the,
Right.
the cab in the back and so on and so forth.
Yep.
But these guys, okay, you're right. I could rent that myself. That's it. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any further questions from the public? All right, hearing none. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan. Our final witness this evening is our professional planner, Rachel Fiefeld. I hope I didn't mispronounce that. You'll correct me if I
Close
did.
enough.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you give today to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state and spell your name for the record.
Rachel Fifield, Rachel Fifield.
And for the benefit of the board and public, your education, area of expertise, and the licenses you hold.
Sure. I have a master's degree in regional and urban planning from Rutgers University here in New Jersey. I have been a planner with Langen Engineering for about 5 years. I'm licensed as a PP in the state of New Jersey. My license is current and in good standing, and I'm a member of the AICP nationally.
Board stipulates.
Thank you, Chairman. You've had an opportunity to review all of the application materials. You've heard the testimony this evening. There's been discussion throughout the night, and it's in the reports, that this application requires relief from the redevelopment plan for building height and the locations that the architect identified, and also for not complying with the total number of parking spaces where 277 is required, and the applicant is proposing 150. Based on the testimony operationally, you've heard from the engineers. Do you have a professional planning opinion as to how the board can grant the relief that we're seeking?
Yeah, so I'm going to divide this out into discussing both of those deviations separately, and how I feel that we can hopefully meet it. So for that building height, the 45-foot height that's permitted, and that 49-foot 5 inches that's proposed, both for that L section of the building and then also for the smaller section where they're raising the roof. The height on those limited sections of the building allows for 2 floors of office use without expanding the building footprint, and still allows for a reduction of impervious surface within the FHA, because the entirety of the site, as I believe one of my colleagues has mentioned, is in the flood hazard area. And so we are just, trying to keep a minimized footprint there. That those areas of height increase are not significant compared to the overall warehouse size. And particularly the L, the addition, as it's been discussed, although it's not, an addition to the building, it's just sort of like a little extra piece that's there right now, is located largely behind the main building, which limits the view, especially from Ridge Drive. There's existing landscaping, there's proposed landscaping to sort of increase that buffering. And then when it comes to our discussion of those car parking spaces, as my colleagues have all mentioned, this warehouse is designed for a specific user. Unlike your classic spec warehouse, we do know who's going in there, and as we've discussed sort of extensively, and as he's mentioned when he gave his testimony, he has, a very strong grasp on what his business looks like and who's going to be going in and out and when, which is a level of control and information for the board, which is excellent for making decisions and is, significantly more than you would get with a spec warehouse. And so because we have those employment numbers and those hours are confirmed, it allows for this very fine-tuned parking design. Parking is more than adequate to serve the specific needs of employees and potential visitors to the site. As my colleague Dan discussed in the traffic testimony, we're going to have a surplus of 60 spaces compared to the anticipated employee demand. This parking design provides sufficient space while still reducing that impervious coverage from about 16 acres to about 14.6 acres on this area that's within the FHA. And I think that as a result, we can comply with the purposes of zoning, both Purpose A, to encourage municipal action to guide the appropriate use or development of all lands in the state to promote public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. These deviations allow for productive reuse of a site that's vacant right now into a modern warehouse specifically suited to the office and parking needs of this specific user. For Purpose G, providing sufficient space in appropriate locations for a variety of uses according to the environmental requirements to meet the needs of New Jersey citizens. These deviations allow for a reduction in that impervious coverage in an FHA area, which is considered generally, something to think about environmentally, while allowing for the development of this vacant site. And then Purpose H, to encourage the location and design of transportation routes to promote the free flow of traffic while discouraging the location of facilities and routes which result in congestion or blight. This deviation allows for a reduction in impervious while still meeting the parking demands of this specific user and allowing for effective loading. We are compliant with no issues with the negative criteria, which means no substantial detriment to the public good as a result of these deviations. This retrofitted building and parking design will reduce impervious coverage from 16 acres to 14.6. Parking can adequately serve the needs of the cars and trucks accessing this site. And the building height will not impact light, air, or open space. The majority of it is located sort of central to the site, behind the larger warehouse structure, and will not impinge on neighboring properties. And then in addition, there's no substantial impairment to the redevelopment plan or the zoning plan. So it's a permitted use under the redevelopment plan and an encouraged use at this location. And then also compliant with goals 1, 2, and 3. So goal 1, to support desirable non-residential development. Project with this requested relief is a purpose-built warehouse permitted use in the redevelopment plan. And goal 2, to focus warehouses and related uses along Liberty Avenue where such uses are already established. And to encourage the improvement of properties in disrepair. So I would not say that this property is in disrepair, but is certainly, not actively in use. The project activates this vacant building and site with a warehouse use along Liberty Avenue. And then for goal 3, to encourage sustainability and resilience as a part of development. EV charging infrastructure, green building, and other environmental considerations should be encouraged. So for this project, there's a reduction in impervious surface as part of development. There's limited parking to simply what is needed for the specific user. And the project also complies with the state's EV make-ready space requirements. And as my colleagues have mentioned, there's existing solar roof on parts of this warehouse or parts of this current office building, and it is going to be retained as a result of this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chairman, I have nothing further on direct for the planner.
Any questions from the board?
I have a question that is not necessarily a planner question, but you mentioned environmental and so forth. It dawned on me, will the impervious coverage that's used, is it needed to be specifically stronger relative to the weight we'll bear with the containers?
So I'm going to refer to my colleague.
I'm sorry to interrupt. It dawned on me, and I wanted to be sure we get on the record.
So there are specific pavement designs across certain portions of the site that are, adequate for what is intended to access those portions of the site. Meaning,
You didn't mention that, and I didn't want to.
so truck traffic has a different pavement design than just standard car parking.
And those containers could be heavy if they're loaded, I guess.
Yes, and sorry. You'll also notice, if I just zoom in here, there is, if you look down the row of trailer stalls here, you see how there's this delineation?
Yes.
And the same with the other trailer stalls. So that's for the dolly pad, so the weight of the trailer is situated on a more robust concrete section versus asphalt, which tends to be more, it tends to yield more under heat versus concrete.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Any further questions from the board? I just had one question and might sum up some of the patterns and the themes of the questions of tonight. And I think based on the number of employees and based on those assumptions of trucks, of single unit trucks and trip generations, based on assumptions, finite assumptions on how many employees that you would have, if you are the victims of your own success and if you grow in terms of number of employees and et cetera, I guess what assurances or what ways would you be able to monitor the conditions of the operations in the site to ensure that the growth does not end up introducing detriments to the public good?
So one of the excellent things about the planning process is that if, we're granted these deviations and the project, does well, the client does well, their business goes well, and they end up in a position where they do need more, say, more parking or more warehouse space, they are required to come back before the board in order to make those changes. They can't, make them independently. So what you might choose to agree on, locks them into what they're permitted on this site right now. And if they do grow and things do change, they are required to come back and get permission if they do want to make further changes.
Thank you. Any further questions from the board? Mr. Donovan?
No, not for the planner. I just had one thing for Mr. Paparo, if I could.
Thank you.
Along the lines of what the chairman was stating.
Sure.
I understand that if they're going to change the site plan, they're going to need to come back. But one of our concerns at this board is always if they change their operation. So let's say it goes to a 24/7 operation, and next thing you know, they've changed the patterns of when the traffic's going to occur. So they're going to expand the instead of trucking from ending at 4 or 5 o'clock, it then continues all night long. Would you stipulate that in the event that you change the operation, that you come back and talk to this board? Is that something you could work out with Mohammed and come up with some kind of condition?
Yeah, we could come up with some language, if any kind of substantial deviation from what was testified, or that's typically the way it's handled. I mean, there has to be some flexibility for permitted uses to evolve, right? We can't lock them in. It's not static, but something substantial, like if they switch their business model and they were overnight and not during the day, that would be a substantial change.
I was educated tonight. It seems like a tremendous operation that they run, and I know that you guys have this down to a science. But I think to protect the neighborhood, those type of changes, if it's going to extend the hours into, interfere with people who are already home with noise or something or traffic, I think those type of things.
Sure.
We want them to be wildly successful for sure.
Yeah, I think we can talk about some kind of language that, again, captures what the concern is, but without handcuffing them from growth.
Just for formality, any further questions for the planner from the board? Any questions from the public for the planner? Okay. Hearing none. Council, would you like to sum?
I'll be very brief. It's been a lot of testimony. So first of all, thank you for all of your comments, your feedback. We thank the board's engineer for the review letters and the helpful feedback as well throughout the process. This is an exciting project for not only Interglobo, but for the township. This is a site that I'm sure everyone in this room has been waiting for something to happen, something positive. And having a company such as Interglobo and with all of their success in Jersey City and bringing that success to Union Township, I think it's a great thing. The redevelopment project is in line with the redevelopment plan. The two minor deviations can be justified based upon the type of operations and the fact that it is an end user. It's not a speculative warehouse. So with the conditions and stipulations that we made this evening, we feel that the relief can be granted, and we look forward to the future success of Interglobo and Township of Union.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public? So can I get a motion to approve application 2026-01 650 Liberty Avenue with the conditions stated and will be further elaborated in the resolution with regards to overnight parking, no left turn exit for tractor trailers, and then some language with regards to operational expansion that may lend for coming back to the board for further approvals.
And that 650 be added to the sign, the address.
And the inclusion of encouragement of diverse routes for deliveries for the single unit drivers. sorry.
And-
Was there a
yeah,
motion?
Yes, and that 650 be added to the sign. the
650.
address.
Perfect. Thank you, Committeewoman. Moved by Committeewoman Terrell. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Mr. Miller. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alexander? Yes. Ms. Espinosa? Mr. Frayne?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Mayor Frazier?
Yes.
Committeewoman Terrell?
Yes.
Excuse me, Ms. Khan? Chairman Lay?
Yes.
Thank you very much for your time and your
Thank you.
consideration. Appreciate it.
And welcome to Union. All right, with no further business from the board, can I get a motion to adjourn, please? Moved by Mr. Frayne, seconded by Ms. Long. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed. Meeting adjourned.